Let's talk about Victor Osimhen and what he did yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. He played for Galatasaray against Liverpool, and what he did in the game has become a topic of discussion. Almost all the pundits in the world are talking about Victor Osimhen. We are going to talk about this and also talk about what Victor Osimhen said after the game. We're also going to talk about what Alex Iwobi had to say about Ola Aina's injury and also talk about Nigeria's under-20 team amongst many others. But before we jump into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on notification. My name is Adam. You are watching Sports Corner GH. Quickly, let's jump into it and talk about Victor Osimhen. I know a lot of investors are disappointed, especially in that game. But then I'm not going to lie to you, I'm really excited because that game and the fact that Victor Osimhen scored a goal takes him to another level. If you are taking a look at Nigeria's all-time goal scorers in the UEFA Champions League, number one now is Victor Osimhen with 10 goals. Yes, Obafemi Martins is number 2 with 9 goals. So Victor Osimhen scoring that penalty in that game alone takes him on top of that particular list, which is very good for the player. But then there are a lot of arguments on social media, a lot of people saying that in that game he shouldn't have been selfish in certain circumstances, he should have passed the ball and all that. But then we are going to go into all the reactions that happened after the game. Quickly, let's jump into it. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen himself and what he said after the game. This is what he said, and I read it. He states that this is the biggest competition in the world and we want to go far. We really have the quality to make sure that we achieve this objective. It is not going to be easy. We have to take each game as it comes. We will still have some games coming and we'll still be ready. We will try to give it our all to ensure that we make history with the club. Yes, this is coming from Victor Osimhen. And he also added that a lot of people did not believe the fact that they were going to beat Liverpool, one of the best teams in the world, but they did it. Only Galatasaray fans and him, Victor Osimhen, and his teammates believed that that was possible and they made it happen. But then Thierry Henry had something else to say about Victor Osimhen's performance in that game. He did not like the fact that Victor Osimhen was selfish because if not, Galatasaray should have been having more goals in this particular game. Now, this is what Thierry Henry had to say on CBS Sports. This is what he said. He says that you are always going to have a bit of luck. The penalty that was called was not a penalty. This is what Thierry Henry said, first of all, about the penalty Victor Osimhen scored. Secondly, he added, they did not fight on every single ball. They played the counter to the max. They could have had a couple of chances more if Victor Osimhen sometimes was a bit less greedy. Then finally, he added, he could have released the ball for one of his teammates, but he took the penalty ever so well. So this is coming from Thierry Henry. He says that in the game, that penalty was not a penalty. But then sometimes you need luck in football. Also added that the fact that the Galatasaray were playing most of the times on counter, and also added the fact that Victor Osimhen, a couple of chances, he could have just squared it to his teammate instead of being greedy. So this is coming from Thierry Henry. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Now, let's move away from what Thierry Henry said and take a look at what former Arsenal midfielder Stewart Robson said about that game, comparing Victor Osimhen to Alexander Isak. Let me know what you think about that, whether you agree with Stewart Robinson. Now, this is what he said, and I read. He says that there are a lot of big clubs that should have taken Osimhen, but did not take the chance. But what he showed tonight was a great awareness of where the space was. He kept pulling down the sides of Virgil van Dijk into the space that Kekes had left. That was good with his back to goal and constant threat. Yes, he scored a penalty, but he's a top-class player. He's got energy, he's got pace, he's got the strength as well, and he's not bad in the air. So Osimhen is a center forward that if you look between Isak and him, I will still say Isak is slightly better, but he won't be far off. Do you agree with Stewart Robinson? He says that Alexander Isak is better than Osimhen, but Osimhen is not far off. Do you agree with, Stewart Robinson? I disagree though. Let me know whether you disagree or not on this down below in the comments. Yes, after the game, Victor Osimhen and Virgil van Dijk exchanged jerseys because it wasn't easy. Two of them, they had it throughout the game. So guys, this is what happened in the game between Victor Osimhen and what a lot of these pundits have to say about him. As I said, people were not happy about the fact that Galatasaray won because of their investments. But then I think it's a good one for Victor Osimhen because it's a big stage. You need to show yourself. And Victor Osimhen did that, and I'm happy for Galatasaray. With Liverpool, they like conceding. They need to work on that. Now, let's move away from Victor Osimhen and talk about Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi on Fulham TV, they have a show, the Iwobi Bassi Show. And he talked about Ola Aina. Now, he made a statement where all Nigerians started looking at some of these players differently. Now, this is the statement he made, and I read. He says that, for those that don't know, Ola Aina played the AFCON final with a grade 2C hamstring injury. And that is wild. If you remember the AFCON final very well, Nigeria played boot for boot against Ivory Coast, but Ivory Coast ended up winning the AFCON, and we did not even notice Ola Aina had an injury in that game. He played for the country, he played for the badge, and that is what Alex Iwobi is saying, that a lot of people did not know he had a grade 2C hamstring injury. And if you take a look at the comments under this particular video, a lot of people were talking. People said that was risky, others said, and he cost us the final by allowing that cross. Others also said, and they still lost. Adingra would still cook him even if he was fully fit. People are having mixed, comment or mixed reception to this particular one. But all I'm trying to say is, players really sacrifice a lot just to give it all for their countries. But if Iwobi hadn't said this, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have even noticed this is a player who was having a pending injury. But then this is coming from Alex Iwobi. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Now let's move away from Alex Iwobi and talk about Zaidu Sanusi. It's been 2 years. Finally, he's back, and he found the back of the net for FC Porto. Now, he got injured and was sidelined for 8 months for a knee injury. When he came back from that injury and recovered, he was not getting regular playing time. He was not considered as a first option anymore for FC Porto. He was not playing at all. But on Monday, they played a game in the Portuguese league, and he featured in that game where he scored a goal for FC Porto. Now, the big question everyone is asking is, will Eric Sekushaw hand him a call-up to be in the team, especially for that left-back position? Should he be in the team? Let me even ask you, should he be in the team? Should Sanusi be in the team for Super Eagles of Nigeria? Looking at the fact that now he's getting regular playing time with FC Porto, he just scored a goal. That would also boost him, his morale for Nigeria. Nigeria needs almost every single experienced player who is still playing, because they have some small injuries here and there. So they need almost everyone who is fit now and still playing to be part of the team, so they can qualify for the World Cup, because the World Cup qualifiers is just around the corner. Now let's move away from Zaidu Sanusi and talk about Nigeria's under-20 team. They are playing in the under-20 World Cup, and they played their first game against Norway, where they lost by 1-0. I'm not going to lie, the Nigeria under-20 team is a very good team. They played pretty well. They played a very good game, but it's just rather unfortunate that in that game they lost by 1-0. Now let me explain this. Now in that game, Nigeria hit the woodwork 2 times, which I felt like should have been a goal. Secondly, VAR awarded a penalty to Norway, where Houghton, converted that penalty that resulted to them winning or taking off 3 points in that game. A late VAR decision denies Nigeria of a penalty also in that game. But so more or less, Nigeria dominated that game. They played extremely well. It's just rather unfortunate. They were just not lucky on the day. But I just hope that looking at the quality I saw, looking at the performance I saw from Nigeria, their next game they are going to do well. We just have to support them. And I'm going to make sure to fully watch their next game and bring you my own reaction and also analysis concerning that live here. So guys, this is where I'm going to end today's update. I have more for you concerning South Africa. They have sent another appeal to FIFA. We are going to talk about that in the next video. So before we do that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on notification. I'll see you in the next one. Charlie, goodbye.